Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here in front of a very diverse audience at an event that aims to shake up traditional thinking, push outside our comfort zones, and create a dialogue. When I look around the room, I see people gathered to celebrate vision and courage. That is what you need if you want to become a disruptor, a startup, a growing enterprise. Vision and courage. And where better to talk about this fascinating subject about the world of mobility than here in the great city of London. Just think, for instance, of the many transformations its public transportation has gone through. From horse-drawn carriages, which you might remember from the pictures, to the automated DLR. Many of you might have taken that today. London is actually finding constant new ways to get people from A to B. Faster ways, but also cleaner ways. And today, we actually have to find yet new ways to approach transport. We need to be open to many different forms of mobility, and we need the courage and vision to think differently. So, what is it that will move us from A to B tomorrow, in the world of tomorrow? I'm not standing here with one definite answer. I might be one of the speakers, but I'm here also very much to listen, to understand, and to learn. During this session, I will also be asking you for your opinions. With that in mind, please do follow the instructions on the screen behind me. What you see is you can log into Mentimeter, as you can see over there, www.menti.com. You can enter the code 11194. That will allow us to get some live server results as we go, and we can have a dialogue. That way, I can hear from you, and you can hear from me. So, I might not have one definite answer, but I can give you a little views on Shell's perspectives on the big questions around the world's energy future. About the multiple solutions that society will meet to energy demand, while reducing emission and tackle climate change and air pollution. Indeed, we meet at a critical moment. In October, the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change outlined the need for an even more rapid transition to a lower carbon world. The IPCC report is a reassessment of what the world must do to keep the planet healthy and restrict global warming. And that begins with CO2 emissions falling sharply in the early 2020s, from next year onwards. Now, the challenge of climate change comes in many forms, touches every part of our lives, and reaches into all industries. It involves every one of us, our teams, our societies, our governments. And in no other area can you see all these issues at work better than in the future of transport. So, how do we do things differently? What lies ahead? How do you actually reimagine transport? The theme of this conference reflects my answers to these questions. There is no one solution, but many. And we need the courage to ask tough questions and the vision to seek unexpected answers. To say, we do not know every solution yet, but we are working on it. So, whether that we are talking about tackling air pollution here in London, or Singapore's vision of an intelligent transport system, or even the smart, sustainable cities of the future that were discussed at the climate talks in Poland in December. Whatever it is we talk about, I believe we need to get every solution we can. And this is certainly true for the cities that I have lived in. These include São Paulo, Mexico City, and Beijing. So from personal experience, I can tell you, no one solution can meet all needs in all places at all times. This is certainly a key conclusion of Shell's latest scenario work, which was cited in the IPCC report. Our Sky scenario sets out a challenging but technically possible route the world could follow to meet the aims of the Paris Agreement, to restrict the rise in global average temperatures in this century to well under 2 degrees. Today, transport accounts for nearly 30% of the world's energy use and a quarter of the global energy-related CO2 emissions. In the World of Sky scenario, every new passenger car sold could be electric by 2050. There's already a lot of progress being made, but there has to be. Norway leads the world in terms of the proportion of electric cars sold, followed by Sweden. And China is a country where I myself saw many different solutions taking shape. China now accounts for about half of the global production and has the most electric vehicles on the road. I will tell you what Shell is doing in this area. But before we go there, I have a question for you. So, as you can see the question, do you rent or own an electric vehicle? Yes, no, I could if I would. Quite a lot of people wishing they had, and on average together with the yeses and the majority. Thank you. Well, very interesting. Let me tell you, for my part, I do have an electric vehicle. I actually have a Volkswagen e-Golf. I'm not promoting anybody here, by the way, but I do. There are many great things about the e-Golf I have, but the best is the driving experience. And my children love it, which I guess for a lot of us is the ultimate seal of approval. On the basis of this quick survey, I think a few of you will be interested to hear that Shell is increasing its involvement in this area. Shell Recharge is our rapid charging service. This allows drivers to charge a car in as little as half an hour. We have 18 of those sites in the UK, 6 in the Netherlands, and 2 in China. We also signed a deal with Ionity, an operator of super-fast charge points in Europe. The high-powered chargers take up to 10 minutes to charge the next generation electric vehicles. 10 minutes. The agreement is to provide 500 charging points across 500 charging points across 10 European countries in the next 2 years. And we acquired NewMotion, one of Europe's largest providers of charging points, operating more than 40,000 private points for homes and businesses. And Sietse, who is just over there, will be happy to know that I actually have 2 NewMotion cards, Sietse, which I use regularly to recharge in the wonderful city of The Hague. And we continue to grow and invest in this area around the world. At the end of the last month, in January, we announced our acquisition of Greenlots to help EV charging needs of the US motorists. At the same time, Shell wants to work with others to make electric vehicles more efficient, to find ways to extend their range. For example, we are working with car manufacturers around the world, including Geely in China and Mahindra in India, on new transmission fluids, process oils, coolants, and greases, designed specifically for electric vehicles. I call this range Shell e-Fluids. We have also recently announced our partnership with Nissan, working on Formula E, the electric counterpart to the Formula One, where cars can reach up to 170 miles per hour. Well, I don't know if any of you have done 170 miles per hour, but that's bloody quick. It's a whole new frontier for performance and innovation, which we're keen to be a part of. Now, Battery electric cars, vans, and even light trucks will certainly have a significant part to play in reducing emissions. But they are not all we need. We also need alternatives for heavy freight, for shipping, and for aviation. And batteries, with their range and their weight constraints, do not yet provide an obvious answers for these sectors. Hydrogen is one possible option, with its potential for heavy freight, including rail. Indeed, hydrogen vehicles do not produce any exhaust emissions other than water vapor. And if the hydrogen is made using renewable electricity, then it becomes a very low emission option. But most hydrogen is not produced in that way. So it's not the simple answer either. None of these solutions we are talking about is a simple answer. They're just part of the answer. But hydrogen does offer many possibilities, whether it is to the British plans to convert 100 diesel trains to hydrogen, or the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games commitment to deploy hydrogen fuel cells vehicles for the Games. Shell too is growing its investment in hydrogen. For example, here in the UK, we have opened 2 hydrogen refueling stations with other partners, and we plan to have another 4. In Germany, we are part of a joint venture to establish a nationwide network of 400 filling stations by 2023. And even in California, we are developing 3 stations for heavy-duty hydrogen trucks. And now, I have another question for you. As it's already there. Where will hydrogen be used most in 2100? Passenger planes, shipping, road freight? I see no role for hydrogen or other. Well, many of you are voting with your feet. Thank you for your answers. And I can see that a role for all these possibilities. I can tell you that according to the data we've used in the Sky scenario, the major use of hydrogen will indeed be in road fleet. But let's move to another solution. Natural gas. It has advantages as transport fuel in trucking and shipping. It is cleaner to use than both diesel and heavy fuel oil, especially in terms of air pollutants. So far, China has the world's largest fleets of vehicles running on liquefied natural gas, and the number of LNG trucks is rising. China produced 96,000 trucks in 2017 alone. For Shell's parts, when it comes to trucks, we are working with partners to encourage the adoption of LNG as a road transport fuel. This includes advanced plans to build a network of 39 stations across Europe. And we have a deal with the world's biggest cruise operator, Carnival, to supply the first LNG-powered cruise ships. In December, passengers boarded the first one of these as it made its maiden cruise in the Canary Islands. So, battery electric vehicles, hydrogen, LNG. There's one more solution I want to talk about, and that's biofuels. Shell recognizes the potential, and with responsible production, we see how they could help the aviation sector. Shell is already one of the biggest producers of sugarcane ethanol through our joint venture in Brazil, Raízen. It produces around 2 billion liters of ethanol. To make a comparison with conventional petrol, Brazilian sugarcane ethanol can reduce CO2 emissions by 70%, 70. Raízen also continues to explore advanced biofuels. And at our technology center in Bangalore, India, we are developing an advanced biofuel technology called IH², which is designed to convert agriculture residues and other waste into fuel. In the United States, we are also investing in renewable natural gas, or biomethane. Of course, I understand. the rapidly changing world of mobility is not just about the fuel we use. There's another very exciting development, and one which really has been at the core of this conference, and that is digitalization. Digitalization is opening up more and more options by the day. We can all now see a potential future in which autonomous vehicles are connected and working as fleets. It is a future of innovative business models, from ride-sharing to mobility on demand. For Shell's own moves into the digital world of transport, we continue to work with others, large and small. It's not just a question of adopting a new technology, but from learning from our partnerships and adapting how we work. Most importantly, we are taking the lead from our customers, from how their behavior is changing, from their lifestyles, from what they want. For example, we are testing new business models using smart charging to help customers avoid charging their electric vehicles at peak times. It is our customers who are shaping these developments. So, let me ask the final question, and it is a big one. Do you think transport can be decarbonized fast enough to meet the aims of Paris? A simple question, yes or no? Do you think transport can be decarbonized fast enough to meet the aims of Paris? I know it's a simple question, but there isn't necessarily a simple answer. Looking at this, I can understand the doubt. And the scale of the challenge is very, very big. It's hard, but I firmly believe it is doable. I have personally seen firsthand how many countries, and even different regions within countries, are approaching the great challenge of the future of mobility. Not just focusing on one solution, but many. And they, like we, must keep exploring and developing all of them. Whatever that may be, electric, hydrogen, LNG, or biofuels. But in doing so, we have to work together. And I've been glad that I've been able to do that with you today. So let's keep talking, listening, and learning from each other. And most importantly, working together. Thank you very much.